Humalog, or what's the other one? Made by Eli Lilly. Humalog. Okay. Now, there are certain patients with diabetes who are particularly brittle. When we say brittle or labile, it means their blood sugars tend to fluctuate more, which exposes them to both the risk of hypoglycemia as well as the risk associated with long-term poor control, the risk that we talked about last class. Okay? Diabetic nephropathy, neuropathy, retinopathy. And so for a long time, patients who had brittle type 1 diabetes underwent plenty of hospitalizations, either for hypoglycemia or for diabetic complications, long-term complications. Now that we've introduced the insulin pump, these patients can be much better controlled. And as a result, they exhibit a lot fewer complications. They require fewer hospitalizations. Their life expectancy has normalized. Okay? Why? Because it results in better blood sugar control. Okay? This pump is a device connected to a needle which injects the insulin subcutaneously. Okay? Instructions are entered into the little computer there on the machine. So the machine knows how much insulin to administer on a continuous ongoing basis. And then before you eat, sometimes you push a button and it will give a bolus to cover the postprandial sugar that's going to occur after the increase in sugar that's going to occur after a meal. But all of that is programmed into the little computer. Okay? Now, you're going to use regular insulin, or you can use a short-acting insulin like Humalog, okay, for that pump. Okay? It's going to deliver a continuous sub-Q infusion of that short-acting insulin. Okay? And it's going to do it through a little needle that's anchored, as we saw, within the subcutaneous tissue. And then again, right before meals, it's going to deliver a larger bolus to cover the postprandial glucose rise. It says here, these infusion sets should be replaced every 3 days, and the needle moved to a new site. Okay? Why do you think you have to replace the needle every 3 days, or the infusion set should be replaced every 3 days?
Because they have a risk of infection?
Yeah, because of risk of infection. Yeah, bacteria will ultimately grow along that needle and enter into the subcutaneous tissue, so you replace it. Okay? Now, what are some complications? What are some complications of insulin therapy? Almost everyone who takes insulin suffers occasional episodes of hypoglycemia, where their sugar falls too low. Now, what you learned in AMP2 was that the cells of the brain, the neurons, are very dependent upon glucose. Okay, in fact, remember, the brain and red blood cells are the only two tissues within the body that are dependent upon glucose. They can't use any alternative fuels. So if you become hypoglycemic, then it impairs the function of those neurons within the central nervous system. So patients who become hypoglycemic oftentimes start to become a little bit lethargic or confused. If the hypoglycemia is severe enough or prolonged enough, they can even become delirious or stuporous or obtunded or even comatose. Okay? So hypoglycemia is a complication for anyone who takes insulin therapy. Hypokalemia. What does hypokalemia mean?
Potassium.
Low potassium, because insulin promotes uptake of potassium by cells. So you can develop hypokalemia. That's not that common, though. Lipohypertrophy is an accumulation of sub-Q fat at the injection site. I don't know if you remember this from A&P, but insulin promotes conversion of any excess glucose into fat. It's lipogenic. And so if you have a high concentration of insulin present at the injection site, that tissue can eventually undergo this lipo or lipohypertrophy, an accumulation of fat within those cells. And then certain people can be allergic to certain forms of insulin. Many times it's the protein present within that insulin. So this is a case of lympho or lipohypertrophy. See, the person's been injecting the insulin into their abdominal wall, and this tissue is beginning to accumulate fat. Again, this isn't a short-term complication. This occurs over the long term, over years. All right, so that's all I wanted to say about insulin. Now what I would like for is for Lauren and Chase to come to the front and demonstrate their insulin pump.
Ouch, I'm sorry.
Brought some pens too. I didn't know.
What'd you bring? Oh, yeah. Remember I said you can administer insulin in the pen?
Like, this is the,
What you do is you can dial up the dose, okay? And, you know, if you figure you're going to eat a bigger meal than normal, you can increase the dose. You just dial it up here and then inject
the
it,
needle.
okay? And you can change the dose. But you don't even need the refrigerator anymore. You just carry it around in your pocket, okay? Ladies love
So
that.
Lauren, what's the baseball?
What's the baseball?
She's gonna throw it at us.
No, it was more like an infusion set. Like, you see, okay.
Should we hit the lights?
Yeah, let's hit the lights. Let's see this.
Okay. So, with the pump, the infusion set can be put just like the shots. You can give it on the back of the arm, you know, like in this area. So he wears his right here, and then on the anterior thighs.
So wait, let's take a look here.
He can also have it back here, but he's more comfortable having it.
So here's the infusion site. Where's his pump?
His pump is in his pocket.
Can you take that out and just take a look? Wow,
Oh, it
it's gotten
looks
smaller.
nice. Wow.
It's touchscreen. It's like an
That's
iPhone.
awesome.
So the way it works is you gotta unlock it,
And it's
and then you could give a bolus, and then when you give a bolus, that would be like when you would eat. So you would check your blood sugar, like you said, and you would put your blood sugar, and you'd also put how many carbs you're having in that meal. And then so if your blood sugar is above like the target amount, it also corrects that blood sugar. Like it knows, you know, there's settings in there, and it knows, you know, how much insulin to give to try and correct the blood sugar, and how many units per carb, you know, for the amount of carbs you eat.
So what she's saying is it will calculate the correct dose of insulin based upon his current sugar right before the meal, as well as the anticipated amount of carbs he's going to take in. So it will use that information to design how much a bolus
Like
is to
I've
get.
written, well, it has profiles, and so you can set like different profiles. So from like midnight to 4 o'clock in the morning, he'll have like a lower basal rate because, you know, he's not really doing anything. And then like he has a correction factor, and it's like different times of the day you could break it up. So
you adjust his basal infusion rate?
like for example, between like midnight and 4 o'clock in the morning, his basal is only at 0.6 units an hour.
Okay. So does that mean then that you can program that information into the machine, or do you have to manually change the infusion rate?
No, it's a watch. Let me show you. It's a like you make different profiles.
Oh, so it will automatically change the infusion rate?
Yes,
Yeah, I
like
see.
different times, like from this time to this time.
Okay, so
you
you-
enter everything.
So you can really fine tune the delivery of insulin.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Mhm.
Now does it, and you said you can plug in his blood sugars into the machine?
Yeah, I have like a USB cord that goes to the computer, and it'll give a record, and then the doctors on their end, they have access to our account, so they can see their, like, you know, if I have problems with him having high blood sugars for like a week, I'll download the numbers, and then they can look at it on their end, and then the nurses will call me with a correction.
Now, let me ask you, that machine does not check his sugar though. You have to plug that information in.
There is some that checks his sugar, but it's a different insert. So he does have, Christina? He has a Dexcom, which checks his sugar. So what he has to do is in the morning, calibrate, in the morning and at night, you calibrate it by, you check your sugar with your meter, and then you enter what your sugar is, and for the most part, it's only like a couple, like maybe like 1 or 2 digits off. Like it's not too far off.
Right.
So then you check it in the morning, and then that calibrates it for the morning, and then you check it at night, and it calibrates at night, and it monitors his sugar. Let's see. And it sends it to his cell phone, which right now he's high because he probably ate here. But it sends, he probably ate on the way here. But it monitors every 3 minutes, a new number will pop up. And then, so what it does is, it's alerted to alert my cell phone. And then I text him like, hey, you know, your sugar's high, you need to go. And either enter it in his pump or,
So let me ask you, are you gonna eventually get one of the new pumps that has 2 different inserts, one to monitor the sugar
Well,
and the
this-
other to deliver?
well, it's actually an older pump, like it's an older pump. Like this company's trying to find out one that has it in one infusion set. I went with this one because it's touchscreen and it was easier for him to use, rather than the other ones was kind of like the one you showed. It was more like a digital, you know, you have to dial it up.
Right.
So this is a newer pump. They just haven't came out with where it checks your blood sugar. So this is the thing
Bless
that
you.
checks your blood sugar. That
Right, but if it checks your blood sugar, it doesn't have to use a different needle? Or can
Right.
it- Right, okay.
okay. This is I brought some. So this would be like an infusion set for the Dexcom. I don't know. These are like really expensive. I didn't want to open this up,
Right.
but I brought an infusion set for. This is for the pump. So this is what this. You just twist it off, and it's a sticker. And then what you do is that's why I brought the baseball. But you know you clean the site, and then you put IV prep, which helps it stick, and then you just stamp it on. It should click like that. And then that's how the infusion set goes into the thing. And then
So that's injecting the needle into a subcutaneous space?
yes, and you don't have to red box these because the needle is like you can't even.
Oh, it's not sticking out?
So all you gotta do is cover it,
Right.
and then you can see that. That's why I did it in a baseball. So
I
you
see.
see, that's the tube that stays sub-Q.
Oh, it's very, very thin.
Mhm.
Wow.
And it's pretty much the same thing with the Dexcom. It,
Uh-huh.
you know, it has a little tube that stays in there and it
Look at
monitors.
the.
So I have some questions for Chase.
He's like, yeah.
Do you know how to use all this equipment really well now? Okay. And let me ask you, does it interfere with your lifestyle? Like, for instance, do you play sports? Do you play music? What do you do for fun?
A lot. I don't
Like, if I had to say, let's do something fun right now, what would you pick to do?
outside.
What would you do?
Baseball.
Baseball? What position you play?
I play all positions.
You do everything.
Every year I got a new position.
All right, so what's your current position? I used to play second base, I'll tell you that right now. Have you ever played second base? You have to be really good to play second base. You have to be like the best person on the team, I think.
Oh my god.
So, playing baseball, that stuff doesn't interfere with you playing baseball?
Well, what we do is we kind of find different things to keep the pump. Well, a lot of times, you know, he burns a lot of sugar playing baseball, so we'll just take the pump off.
Okay.
You know, if it's a game, we'll take it off. If his sugars are fine. Just because I don't want him to go too low, and then plus sometimes, you know, the pump falls off, and then the whole
Yeah.
infusion set comes off. So I'm risking more, I mean, even though I bring replacements, I'm risking more of like the pump coming off rather than just taking it
Well,
off.
y'all understand that the more you exercise, the less insulin you require,
Yes.
Right.
okay?
So during baseball games, especially in the heat, I'll take it off.
Okay. Okay. So, it doesn't cramp your style in any way? Okay, are you dating yet?
Oh
You won't tell me.
my
Like,
god.
I go through his cell phone, he won't tell me.
Does your mom cramp your style any?
One could have guessed that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious, do you have any siblings? So wait, who do you, a brother or a sister? You have a brother, and how old are they?
One's 7 and one's 4.
You see, I hate that, having younger siblings. If you had an older sibling, it would kind of be okay. But the problem with having a younger sibling is they like to tag after you a lot. Have you had that problem?
He doesn't, him and his brother are like night and day. Like his sister's from his dad's side, so he sees her occasionally, but him and his brother are like night and day, and his brother really gives him a hard time. You know, he's like real conservative, and his brother's a maniac.
How old is his brother?
4.
Now, and what is the name of your little dog? Spot? That's a good name for a dog.
Spike.
Oh, Spike, yeah. Spike. Now, what does Spike do?
He's in social training right now as well. But at some point he's gonna do scent training where he can smell the blood sugar.
So he will know if your sugar is either too high or too low. Does it bother you having like a dog and your mom always checking in on you? No? Like I would feel like, man, there's someone always, into my business.
Yeah, even with
Probably
with the
not the
text
dog so much.
messages.
I think he read this a dog.
Uh,
Yeah, I think he read this a dog.
So wait, when you go to school, can you bring Spike?
Yeah.
And I bet students love that. Do they like Spike?
I never brought him to school yet, but
I tell you what's gonna happen. They're gonna try to feed him stuff and all that.
There's another girl in the program that he's in, and they go to the same school.
What school is that?
Fisher.
Oh, Fisher? Oh, good.
And so her dog's older, and she was able to bring the dog to school. But the dogs are still going through like scent training and stuff, so they're not ready to take them every day.
Right. Now, these dogs are breeded to be particularly... Yes, sir.
Wait, they're breeding
To
what?
be particularly mild-mannered.
Right.
I mean, they're not very aggressive dogs.
No. But while they are high-strung dogs, they have to be like very aggressive when it comes to food and scent training and stuff. But you see, he's about 12 weeks old, and he's already had 6 weeks of social training. Like we bring him different places. He's been in restaurants. He's been he's been a number of places.
If you don't like somebody, could you train the dog to like sick them?
Oh, yeah, look.
We've actually seen one of the dogs get protected this weekend, so he's going through some.
that was good.
What happened?
He was one of the older dogs was with his kid, and another dog came around her, and he went to fight him. So it's just a part of the training. Like now they're gonna have to set her up, the girl, in a situation where somebody would be attacking her, and they have to just train the dog to be calm. To a certain extent.
Right.
And then so they use each other's dogs like for training. Like they'll bring this dog around that dog just to.
That's incredible.